Well, what's up, guys? Today we are going to be talking about the seven deadly sins, but not exactly. Instead, we're going to be talking about the seven deadly sins of Date Alive. Yep, like my good old favorite harem anime. We're going to look back at the characters and see who would fit what sin. Obviously, you know there's seven sins and way more Date Alive girls than seven. There's like 11 or 12, 13, maybe, I don't know. But we are going to narrow it down to seven. So I'm gonna obviously say I've kept the characters from season 4 and 5, the new ones out, and the twins I decided not to include either. So that means you'll probably know who's coming up on the list. But let's get into it, and this isn't obviously a definite list, you can disagree with it. But if you do and you think a girl matches a different sin, then let me know down below. And let's get into it with the first one, the obvious one in my book, Lust, which is going to be held by Kurumi. Everybody thinks Kurumi's Lust, obviously. Lust is like, um, being in love or feeling the feeling of love, but not technically love. Kurumi is very seductive. She eats people. Some people could find that. She's obsessive. She's obsessed over power. You know, her ability to control time. She can get what she wants. She's obviously probably the hands down most attractive and waifu character of Date Alive. So I think she's the embodiment of lust. That one is fairly easy. Now let's go on to the next sin, wrath. Origami represents wrath. Not just because, she's angry and she could kick your ass and start a war. Not because of that. But it's because of her backstory. Obviously, some could say or Origami could be lust, or Origami could be a bunch of things. But I put her for wrath because her backstory is that her parents died to Kotori by accident, and her entire life has been fueled by vengeance and hate for the spirits. She joined the DEM because she just wanted to kill them. She had so much rage inside of her, so much wrath. She could set the world ablaze because she couldn't get her parents back. That wrath is un um unsolvable basically. So that is why I think Origami is wrath. Now this one I feel kind of confident about. Kotori is pride. She is prideful of what she does and prideful of who she is. She might be small. She might be one of. I think technically she is the youngest character out of the seven. Um, at least by like human age, I guess. I don't know. But Kotori is pride because she is, no matter what the way she looks, she carries herself with such a demeanor that puts her on top. She obviously is the commander of Ratasker. I think I said that wrong. It's been a while. Anyways, she, she's the boss. She is literally the commander. She tells people what to do. She's prideful in her work. She makes the calls. She doesn't show any weakness. Not like when obviously the stuff with Shido and stuff, she like he had to save her, but she didn't want that. He had to, seal her away her power, but he didn't want that, or she didn't want that because she didn't want to have to show vulnerability. She was prideful. She wanted everybody to make sure she looked like the best, like the strongest. She took on Kurumi herself in season 1 just to prove a point, and she almost killed her. Like, she broke Kurumi's clock, and that she almost killed Shito too by accident. So I think she's pride because of just the way she carries herself. And obviously these are the sins. They obviously change because obviously there's the seven heavenly virtues as well, but we're not talking about that today. We're talking about the sins. And speaking about the next sin, we've got gluttony, which I had to give to Tohka. If you know anything about Tohka, she loves to eat food, She eats her bread, she eats everything. All the dates she goes on with Shido, she eats, eats, eats. But I'm gonna tie it in a little bit more. I don't think Toka is gluttony just because she eats food, but she she craves everything. She craves Shido's sole attention. She wants to be the one in Shido's heart because she was the one, the very first spirit Shido sealed. Uh, and his knowledge. But she craves his love. She wants more connection. She just she wants things. Obviously her endless appetite to be loved, to fit in. Obviously for food, like the obvious one. So I think Toka is gluttony. That one I'm like, gluttony is a sin that I kind of hate putting with people because like it's such a other than the like eating. You know what? I think it fits Toka, but you gotta let me know below, down below. This one, Yoshino. I put sloth just because Yoshino is she's not like lazy and doesn't want to do anything, and it's like it's not a. I'm not saying the sin belongs to her because of those reasons, but sloth because she doesn't want to fight. She's calm. She's very sweet. She in the episodes we meet her and stuff, she just wants to have fun. She doesn't want to fight back against the people that are attacking her. She only does it if she really has to. She overcomes her sin of sloth because, she wants the world to be happy, and fortunately it's not. So I think Yoshino is sloth. Now, these next two are interchangeable in my opinion, but this is actually what I went with. For the next sin, greed for Natsumi, I gave her greed because she it's almost like gluttony in the way of she wants things, but so it's not like money, it's not power, it's acceptance. She wants the world to accept her. She's very greedy for it though. It's not a way of like she believes the world should accept her and she wants it from everybody. That's why she wears disguises and stuff. She tries to fool people to get what she wants. And I that's pretty greedy. If you would trick people by turning yourself into a older woman physically, or even she could turn into her friends like Miku and Kotori at some points. She can obviously change stuff. She lies to people to get what she wants, and that's pretty greedy in my thing. I obviously she does it because she's afraid, and that's why it's a sin. And that means last but not least, we have envy for Miku. Now you think Natsumi would be greed with or green with envy, ha ha ha. But no, she's not because I think it's Miku. And again, for the greedy part, you could think that for Miku, but it's not. The reason I gave envy to Miku is because she is jealous of the way that people are accepted. Obviously, she is an idol who wants the world's attention, which again could be greedy, but she's envious because people get what or she wants to be accepted, all right? That's a very common thing. But she's envious of people who are already accepted. For example, the only reason she decides to help Shido is because he sees how he treats Toka. She's envious of how how he treats her because she's never been treated that way. That's why she hates guys to begin with. Um, and even with girls, she doesn't treat girls that way. She makes them, her puppets basically that just say yes to everything. And nobody wants to be around a bunch of yes men or yes women, but Miku doesn't have a relationship with people. She wants one and she's envious for it. So she tries to have it, but she can't. As much as you try, she wants to be loved. She wants to be cared for. She wants to be enjoyed. You know, she uses her music to hypnotize her audience because she's envious that other musicians and singers and idols don't have to do that. They get they get to be the idol and live their dream, while Miku's dream was robbed from her. So now she'll do whatever she can to get to it. I butchered them and chopped them, the explanations, but that's it. Those are the seven deadly sins of data life. So if there is one that you let me know down below which ones you would change, which ones you agreed with the most. If you would swap in other characters like Kaguya, Yuzuru, Mukuro, Nia, Mio. I didn't include them because like, there's too many. And would you want to see me do this with seven heavenly virtues of Data Life? I don't actually know what they are off the top of my head, so I'd have to go look and see if it's possible. But let me know. And remember, thanks for watching. And this is just having fun. And if you want to have fun, subscribe for more. Peace out. And we'll see you guys later. And remember, you might not be able to rewind time. So enjoy your lives as you live them. And that was very cringe. Goodbye. And peace out. Yeah. Bye bye.